Just how rich and powerful is Lord Evelyn Rothschild? Historically, the Rothschild family wealth was hidden in underground vaults. The Rothschild's secret financial records were never audited and never accounted for. Their family-commissioned biographies give the illusion that their family fortune has dwindled, but researchers estimate their wealth at close to $500 trillion, more than half the wealth of the entire world. Besides their many castles, palace mansions, wineries, racehorses, and exotic resorts, the Rothschilds bought Reuters in the 1800s. Reuters then bought the Associated Press, which selects and delivers the same news stories to the entire world, day after day. They have controlling interest in 3 major television networks and easily avoid media attention since they own it. Until recently, they owned and operated England's Royal Mint and continue to be the gold agent for the Bank of England, which they also direct. They control the LBMA, London Bullion Market Association, where 30 to 42 million ounces of gold worth over $11 billion are traded daily. The Rothschilds earn millions weekly just on transaction fees alone. They also fix the world price of gold on a daily basis and profit from its ups and downs. Over the centuries, the Rothschilds have amassed trillions of dollars worth of gold bullion in their subterranean vaults and have cornered the world's gold supply. They own controlling interest in the world's largest oil company, Royal Dutch Shell. They operate phony charities and offshore banking services where the wealth of the black nobility and the Vatican is hidden in secret accounts at Rothschild Swiss banks, trusts, and holding companies. Although Evelyn Rothschild looks like a harmless gray-haired old man, make no mistake about it, Rothschild and his ancestors have handpicked presidents, crashed stock markets, bankrupted nations, orchestrated wars, and sponsored the mass murder and impoverishment of millions. The wealth hoarded by this one family alone could feed, clothe, and shelter every human being on earth. How did Evelyn Rothschild become the filthy rich Grand Vizier to Queen Elizabeth II and godfather of the black nobility? By birth, Evelyn Rothschild is the great-great-great-grandson of Mayor Rothschild and is passing the godfathership down to David de Rothschild.
So I'm taking time out of my busy day to try to put to rest one of the more moronic things I've seen on the news for the past 14 years, and that's saying something. Through my Facebook feed, I saw yet again that old, tired argument. Airplanes crash into 2 buildings. Buildings catch fire. Buildings collapse at nearly the rate of freefall. A 3rd building, not hit by an airplane, catches fire and also collapses. This one literally at the rate of freefall. For the first time in history, steel skyscrapers collapse because of fire. 3 times in one day. I'm so sick and tired of this argument. Now, I'm not going to make any claims as to what did or did not happen. Although, if it was a conspiracy, other than the official one involving the 19 hijackers, I do care. But what I'm upset about is the absurd engineering argument that you guys are making. I'm not arguing the facts. 2 airplanes did hit 2 buildings, and 3 buildings did collapse. But if you think the one caused the other, then you've been duped. This is a 110-story skyscraper. This is the top 15 stories. Do you see how the 95 stories below are supporting the 15 stories above? Okay, now, here I have an identical 15-story section of the skyscraper. Same structure, same mass, but nothing below it. And I want you to see something very interesting. If you drop these at the same time, according to the official story, This one will reach the ground at the same time as this one, essentially in free fall, as they put it. One has nothing below it. The other has 90,000 tons of structural steel supporting it. Check it out. This one obviously can't reach the ground at the same time as this one. Now check this out. Do you see the top 15 stories crushing the 95 stories below? No, you don't. The top block disintegrates by itself in the first few seconds without even impacting the building below. And then the building below begins to destroy itself. What you see are waves of explosions ripping the building apart, pulverizing nearly all the concrete to a fine powder, and ejecting the steel up to 600 feet in all directions. The top 15 stories couldn't do that in a pancaking collapse. And they certainly couldn't reach the ground anywhere near as quickly as this one, which has nothing but air below it. Your argument is invalid. Get over your cognitive dissonance. Find a shrink.
Get down below and you'd see molten steel. Molten steel running down the channel rails. Like you're in a foundry.
Yeah, like lava.
Like lava
from a volcano.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." The truth is about the Middle East is, had there been no oil there, it would be like Africa. Nobody is threatening to intervene in Africa. The problem is the opposite. We keep asking for people to intervene and stop it. And there's no question that the presence of petroleum throughout the region has sparked great power involvement. Whether that was the specific motivation for the coup or not, I can't tell you, but there's always been this attitude that somehow we could intervene and use force in the region.
Hey, what's up? My name is Ali. I'm 11 years old. I'm from Baghdad, Iraq. I think most of you guys don't know Iraq or where it is on map. So I will tell you to ask your parents. If they are clever enough, they will tell you it was called Mesopotamia. In Mesopotamia, the land of history and civilization. American troops occupied Iraq in the year 2003, 2 years before my birth, telling Iraqi people they will free them from dictator. So they started the occupation, shocking and scaring everyone. They insulted all Iraqis. After 8 years, they left Iraq, leaving it like a ghost land. They left us without any safety, any smile, or any hope. Nothing left in my country. Only people killing people because of the sectarian war. And ISIS occupies many cities in Iraq. So here I am, talking on behalf of millions of Iraqi children. They want to ask America one question. Are you satisfied with an end like this for your mission in Iraq? Leaving Iraqi people with fear, tears, pain, killing, blood, and destruction? I don't want to waste your time or mine. I'm not gonna tell you everything happening here in my country. I'm only gonna speak about Iraqi children. And I want you to hear me. You have to hear me. Because everything happening in my country, happening because of you. So let me tell you something about Iraqi children. They are being killed because of ISIS, because of sectarian war. They are taken from their mothers to serve in ISIS camps. Can you believe that? In order to make them terrorists in future. So, who refuses ISIS? Run away with his family, carrying what he can, walking for 500 miles through a roads full of bombs and mines, tearing their little bodies apart. And if they survived and reach a safe place, they live in a tent. Imagine that. In this cold weather, you are living in a safe home, eating a hot, clean meal, covering your body with a warm clothes. But the poor children here live in a tents with a thin t-shirts on their bodies, eating anything they can find. So viva America! Is it cool now? Are you satisfied? Thanks, America. Thanks for everything. Thanks for lies. Thanks for leaving us with thieves, with terrorists, with ISIS. Thanks, America. Thanks again for making us see in blood more than anything in this life. At the end, I will say like you. Peace.